Hey, we're getting good at this. We're getting good at this. Welcome to another episode of Mooncast. I'm your host, Katz. We have on the stage with myself a fellow scholar, Gandalf, joined also by the community moderation team, which is Veno and then Mr. Adult. Today is just a session, a podcast, just to get your opinions on this type of content, that you want to see and how you want to be educated for V2. It's no doubt that V2 is on its way, and we want to make sure that we have the content ready to go for every single person in how they learn and how they want to be guided, what V2 is, and how to migrate to V2, and just everything in general relating to V2. So we want to hit everyone's capable needs in terms of the way they learn. So if we can do that, yeah, we're going to try and hear your opinions, how you want to perceive the step-by-step guides and so forth. So, excuse me, throughout the show, there'll be a poll. If a lovely Dr. Chris would put the poll up, it should be in the highlights channel in the community tab. And there you can vote on the type of content that you'd like to have made. You have a choice of direct video, so you could have a video style, straight up video, like me talking to you with the camera with, you know, a step-by-step. That can be long or short. We also then have images, which is a step-by-step of images that could then be put into a slide video. So it's like a slideshow video. Or some people may just prefer straight up text. So we kind of want to see sort of like the main priority of needs based on how people learn. So if you want to hit on the poll for that, that'd be greatly appreciated, and we can kind of establish on that. That doesn't mean that you can't come up and explain how you would perceive the learning content. So if you want to guys come up and just explain how you feel about what sort of things you would want to see from a educational standpoint, that'd be great too. But apart from that, let's jump straight into some questions from the community. Let's see what you guys want to know, and we'll go from there. So if we just bring some guys straight up, and I'm assuming that we've got questions sitting in the pipeline as well from Veno's side. I see him going, but he's got no mic.
Okay, yes.
There we go. There you go.
Okay, I gotta remember to press the button. If you have questions, just hold on 2 minutes. I'm gonna attempt a new feature where you can submit them directly to us without me having to search them all down. Just give me 2 minutes on that and pay attention to the chat.
Okay, so text questions. Wait a second. While we do that, we'll just jump on to some of the community guys that have jumped up on stage. So, Puffius?
Hello. Yeah, thank you.
How are we doing?
Yeah, appreciate everything you guys do. First off, my question is regarding the migration. So I personally put all of my SafeMoon with BNB into the SafeMoon LP. So I don't know if I have to withdraw that and take that tax hit to do the migration, or is that something that they're gonna do since it's in the liquidity pool? I'm just curious. Thank you.
Sure. So any LP related stuff will be handled. You shouldn't have to do anything in terms of the LP related if you put any funds with pairings. That should all be done accordingly. So you would have put LP into the SafeMoon swap. Is that right?
Yeah, I paired it all with BNB and put it in the swap, and so I just hold the SFS LP tokens, so I don't really hold the SafeMoon. So that was you answered my question. I appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, 100%. You haven't got to worry about that. That LP will be moved on its own with the team. Sterling, how we doing?
Hey, how's everything?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Not too bad. Never really used Discord before. After getting into SafeMoon, kind of found it. But isn't YouTube like a pretty good platform? Like a lot of people would, I think, go to YouTube for the visual. How to do the V2 migration. I think it would be best, in my opinion.
Okay, so a straight up YouTube video. How would you perceive the visuals on that? Would you prefer how it's been done in the past, where you have like a slideshow of just this is step 1, step 2, step 3, or would you prefer someone walking you through the steps and you pause along following either me or another community member, whoever it is that is on that video?
Yeah, even if you just went through, and then I could pause, do it on mine, go back to the video, next step, pause, go back. Right, it's foolproof that way.
Okay, that's definitely doable. It's definitely something that I can consider. In terms of adding on to that, how would you feel if, for myself, who's making a product guide in terms of V2, would it be more beneficial for you to pause the video, or would you find it easier if on the SafeMoon.education site through the product guides tab that will be coming for V2, if there's the steps in the process that are tabs, you click on the tab and there's a 3-4 second clip that explains what that step is, and have it separately like that, so you're following a guide but then there's video clips attached? Would that be more beneficial, or would you just want a straight up video?
Even both. I mean, it even that sounds great too. I'm just a visual kind of person.
Okay, so definitely more visual than text is what you're saying there.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. We can definitely incorporate that. That's not a problem at all.
Awesome. Thanks for taking my question. Yeah. Take care.
No, appreciate it, Sterling. Thank you for
Bye.
coming up. How are we doing, Venno? Are we good on that end?
Yeah, Dinobot's being a little annoying. I just need one more minute here.
Okay, no problem.
It's a new Dinobot system where people can submit their questions directly to us to the stage. It seemed to be working last night. It's giving me a problem. If I can't get it working in the next minute or two, we'll just go without it.
That's all right. No problems. Well, we'll jump over. So, Burns, welcome to the stage.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me up. How's everybody going today?
Yeah, not too bad.
That's excellent to hear. So I like the I like the idea of kind of having a combination of these things that you guys are already talking about, and I think that these are really great ideas. I'm sort of a visual learner and an audio learner. I like to digest information in several ways that kind of helps information stick. I would like to also see maybe like a post migration, because there's a tutorial, because there's going to be a lot of people that come in who don't necessarily get to see it, live in real time, or may not, catch on to just the video or just the audio side or just the text side. I think it would also be cool and beneficial to incorporate a slideshow, kind of like in the style of Coinbase, with sort of like a short, quiz at the end. It's just nothing that's no penalty or anything like that, but just a way for people to kind of be introduced to the materials and then go back and select A, B, C, or D as a multiple choice, and then just kind of like an incentivize congratulations if they're right, sort of thing.
Okay, sure. I definitely think that's doable. Definitely doable on my side, especially on the site. How I visually put that together is something I'll have to figure out. But 100%, that shouldn't be a problem to do. So yeah, I definitely like the idea of a quiz. Especially as well, what I was also thinking is an acknowledgement box, which has brought along the idea. I think it was actually Mr. Adult. You actually gave me the idea of an acknowledge box. So after each step, you actually acknowledge that you've done that step. So it's a proper step by step. You can't skip a step or anything like that. So yeah, okay. I will definitely take that into consideration. And if I can get that done, I'll physically try and get that done. If not, at least you'll have the step by step without the quiz. The quiz is going to be the tricky part there, but if I can get that incorporated, I definitely will.
Sure. Thanks so much. And look, I will be more than happy to help. If there's a way that I can contribute, I'm definitely on board.
No, I appreciate that. I'll definitely keep you in mind. You've been a great help so far with some of the articles that we've got up, so I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm going to sneak in here. Anybody who's listening via the Discord, you can ask a question directly. We're going to try this brand new feature. I'm putting it in the chat now. You're just typing the ask command and then any text you want to add after it, and that'll go directly up to us up here. There is a 30-second cooldown on it, so if you do it multiple times in a row, you're going to get stuck waiting. But Dinobot will confirm with you that your question was submitted, like it just did to a few people. So that way we got it. And Cats Rust, you should be able to see it directly above our stage here.
Okay, cool. Yes.
Is that better for you?
Yes, I got it. That's a lot easier to read.
And however you want to sort it, you can delete it, check them off, whatever you need to do to sort that you've worked through them. and I'll help you manage that too. But at least this way, I'm not tracking down questions, because I know in previous weeks questions got lost. This way, people can know, confirmed by the bot, that their question got to us.
Sweet. And if I don't answer them, I apologize. If the question list gets too big, if not, I will try and consolidate some of the questions and try and answer them in more of a public manner, whether it's through another space or vice versa. So we'll jump over to Tulai first. He's been on stage waiting, so we'll jump over to Tulai and then we'll get some questions answered.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Quick question about the gentleman that was just talking. I think he's hitting the nail right on the head, because I remember in the beginning trying to buy SafeMoon. For me, it wasn't too bad. I looked up a how-to video and that was it, I think. But you're going to have a lot more people that don't even bother looking up those how-to videos. I think we need to make it really accessible, maybe even a link to the YouTube video on the SafeMoon main page as well would help get the word out.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So there's a few different places we can reach. Obviously, we've got SafeMoon.education, and there's the SafeMoon Education YouTube channel, which anyone watching, we are live over there too. We've got them in the Facebook group. We've got the main Twitter. There's multiple places we can definitely share them and reach out to. So 100%, we can definitely make that happen. So I've definitely got a few notes already of which type and how we perform that. So shouldn't be an issue. So great. Is there anything else from yourself that you may want to input on that, or?
I'd say that's it. Just as long as like it's not so much a problem for us, because we all know what's happening. I'm just thinking of the person that's not on the Discord, that's, you know what I mean, that looks at the trust wallet maybe once a month, or you know what I'm saying, type of thing.
Yeah, so constant refresh just to let you know it's there. So, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's definitely doable. I will definitely make notes of those, and we'll definitely
there's
work on
definitely plans to create quite an awareness campaign around all this. It'll be definitely noticed, not forgotten. And yeah, using things like the main website and assets that are available, and giving it as easy an opportunity for other people to share it on, and showing up in not just tweets but Facebook, Twitter Spaces. It's likely that different crypto places are going to cover it in their news, and the influencers, so it very much should show up everywhere. And we want to have a consistent set of easy to follow messaging. The closer it is to 3 simple steps, the better, so it's digestible and shareable by everyone. But with the long form stuff for those who perhaps want a little bit more of the background and the explanation about how certain things work, because we've also got people who are they're innovating their own lives, right? They're innovating in terms of taking an adventurous step into technology they've never touched. And I'm sure a lot of us went through the pancake swap yoga dance to try and get it in the early days, and some people, they found that so hard that they never did get in until much later on, when things like the buy buttons and stuff have started to appear and better guides. So we're looking to make sure that isn't a repeat thing, and that it's nice, clear, shareable, and shows up in the spaces where people are, instead of just, like you say, people who are in the Discord. The moment we've started putting content out, we'll continue to say, how else can we get that out there? Who else can help us get that out there? And keep asking those questions, because we want to make sure that it is definitely out and about. But it's really great to get people coming up like yourself and giving that perspective, because it proves those assumptions. And I know they seem like obvious ones, but what we're really hoping for today is going to be little nuanced details. So like Sir Burns was just saying, there's little details about how that then shows up or is displayed or written. Some people want something really simple, almost like Lego or IKEA or Fisher Price, and other people really want it long form. Some people, they don't enjoy reading, so they'd much prefer to have a video or an audio walkthrough. Other people want someone to help them go through it live or a bit more interactive. So we really want to understand the nuances and detail of that, so that we make sure no one's feeling like it's struggling, easy for everyone.
I've been doing my personal best on spreading the word throughout the YouTube community, in the comments, and the Facebook community as well.
That's amazing. Thank you for doing that. I've definitely heard some other people in different spaces doing the same. Everyone's wanting everyone to move forward together. It's just a wonderful example of the great culture that's in this community. It's, that award the other week comes from that kind of mentality. And it's, John's saying, right? A rising tide raises all ships, and we need to make sure that we keep all of us on board.
Thanks again for everything you guys are doing.
Appreciate it, Tulai. Appreciate it. Right, let's jump over to some of the text questions. They are filling up very, very fast. Jesus, okay.
This new question thing's brilliant.
It is. But it's definitely going to be
as
one
long
of those.
As long as Dinobot can handle it, because I'll tell you, like just 10 minutes ago, Dinobot was lagging up a storm. I'm like, not now.
Not Dinobot needs to stop doing tequila just before Mooncast.
Seems like it's caught back up, and we're okay though.
Okay, so question number 1 is, how will liquidity for other cryptos be funded on the SafeMoon exchange? Okay, so when it comes to SafeMoon and in general how they're going to fund it, they're ultimately a business, and they will have methods of what generation the funds that a business would generate. There's different means of methods, so they will have funding for that. But also, when you're talking about an exchange, the exchange will fund itself. The exchange is going to be operation through the fees that it would charge to change from token to token. It's going to be very, very minute, but as the volume builds up across the exchange, the fees will generate, and that will be a self-sustaining business in itself. So you won't have to worry about how it's exactly funded. It's just going to have funding from the beginning through the business that the business puts up, and then from there, it will self-cycle. So you won't have to worry about that. Are there any plans to have the exchange be available to New York? So legislation and legal requirements that they have to follow, they will follow. They will do their very best to approve the transactions available for different states and continents and countries. So when it is that, initially they may not be available, they will eventually be able to supply to those countries. But again, it's a regulatory thing that they have to work with. So hopefully in the future that'll be the case.
Over time, I'm in New York. I see the legislation firsthand. I'm watching how they're improving on it. It's just because it's new, it's scary, and the government wants to figure out how can we get all of our money about it, and hopefully it doesn't interfere with everything else that we're doing corrupt. So it's a waiting game. It's inevitable that crypto takes over, but there's going to be states that will fight it off for as long as possible, and New York just happens to be one of them.
Yeah, 100%. Just give it time. If we're not there in launch, hopefully in the near future that will change. So we'll have to see how things play that on that one. And then the final question we have before we move on to some more speakers is, will the token V2 have a new address? Yes, it is a new contract, so they will need a new address. It's not going to be the same address. It's going to be a new contract, new everything from the actual contract side, so you won't have to worry about that. It is just a straight up new address. It'll be made public. Everyone will know what it is, and then you will just look to slowly forget about the V1 contract address, because that will slowly become unsupported. So you won't have to worry about that one. So let's now get some more speakers up. I've invited 1 or 2, but it seems that they may not have missed it. If I do invite you, just double check that I have invited. If you want to come up, you can come up. If not, then you're more than welcome to just step down.
Yep, if you've raised your hand, just pay attention, because you never know when you'll get that invite.
CIG, how are we doing?
Hi, hey guys. Thanks for everything that you guys do. I actually got 2 questions. One is, considering that this is a HODL coin, a passive income coin, and considering how all the new tokens these days with reflections have staking implemented, will we eventually get staking? And the second question is, since we're having our own blockchain and exchange, will we eventually be able to buy SafeMoon directly with fiat currency?
Okay, so I'll answer the second one first, because the second one's fairly simple. The exchange should allow you to do that, because essentially within any exchange you have your fiat balance, and then you can swap straight into that. So that in the long term will happen. How quickly that happens depends on how the exchange is implemented and so forth. But more information about the exchange will come in its own moment, in its own time, when they're ready to do so. So there will be that method of buying and selling SafeMoon on that. Now, as for your first question, in relation to, oh gosh, I've confused myself now. Just repeat the first one for me.
Sure. I said considering SafeMoon is a HODL and passive income coin, and how most tokens with reflections have staking implemented, will we eventually be able to stake our SafeMoons in addition to getting reflections?
Okay, so first off, SafeMoon reflections are probably higher in terms of percentage returns than staking. SafeMoon itself is a self-staking token. That's what tokenomics technically is. As for if you will be allowed in the future to stake, staking comes with its own requirements and no legal legislations and regulations. So when they're allowed to do that, they will look at it. But from the likes of what Popper and the team have kind of already hinted about with staking, is it's not really on their radar right now. Is it a feature that could come in the future? Yes. But with SafeMoon, as I said, again, being a self-sustaining, staking token, it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's also, has its reasons for why you would want to do it too. So, as I say, in the future, yes, but not right now on the current radar.
Got it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome, and have a great Sunday.
No problem. Thank you very much for coming up. Arthur Lai.
Hey, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Sorry, I've just got some basic questions. Just give me one moment. Sorry.
Of course, go ahead.
Yes. Sorry, I was just chewing. Yeah. So regarding V2 and it being manual, so what do we do? So do we just go into Pancake Swap and then exchange it for the new token? And is there going to be any transaction fee in regards to like how we have our 10% whenever we buy and sell, and like always how in the simplest terms, how is it going to be done,
Sure. So when the team are ready, you will receive the notification on the SafeMoon wallet. If you have the SafeMoon wallet, that'll be sort of like one of your first point of calls along with the social media. So teams announce it's live. You will then either go to the SafeMoon wallet where there'll be a process for converting. Or if you're not using the SafeMoon wallet, i.e. if you're using Trust Wallet, they will then need to connect to the SafeMoon swap on the website. So it's only SafeMoon swap and the SafeMoon wallet. They are the only two places that you will be able to swap. So keep that in mind.
That means, yeah, so that means I do need to download the SafeMoon wallet in order for me to get the V2, right? And what happens if I don't get the SafeMoon wallet and swap it to V2? Would I still not be receiving the same price? Like, would it still not be reflecting the same prices as the V2 anyway?
So you can use either. You can either use the SafeMoon swap on the website via Trust Wallet, or you can use the SafeMoon wallet. It's a choice. It's up to you. Either way, you're both going to the same destination. You're both getting the V2, and it works the exact same way that V1 works.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, so you're saying that you have to get the SafeMoon wallet or SafeMoon swap, whatever, to get the V2. So the V2 price is going to be a separate price to the normal price that it's at. But is it not going to is it not going to go up at the same rate? So would you not essentially get the same price at the same time anyway, without having to do V2?
So if you're referring to the physical transaction, when you consolidate, there's a ratio of 1 to 1,000. So everything is divided by the 1 to 1,000 ratio. So the price.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't do it and there is V2 going on, how does that currently work? Like, if people don't do it and people do it, how does that still work?
So it will slowly become unsupported. So there will be a time frame where the team will give you the community X amount of time to basically say that you need to move to V2. And after that, it becomes unsupported. Now, that doesn't remove the ability to trade to V2. You will always be able to come to V2 because that process is never going to go away. But the actual value of V1 will slowly be removed to the point where if you want your value, you have to move to V2. That's essentially it. You're never going to
Okay,
lose that
okay,
value.
cool. That sounds good because right now I'm not in because currently I'm at a hospital, so I don't have access to my phone. So I'm gonna be staying here for quite a while. So I didn't want to be able to miss the migration and not be able to, move over to V2 as well.
Okay. Oh no, 100%. You're not going to miss the opportunity to move. The only thing is, as I say, the value of V1 will move with the LP. So as the LP is moved to V2, eventually V1 becomes unsupported, and when you're ready and able to, you just need to move back to move to V2. So there's no rush to do it, but it's
Yeah.
beneficial to do it.
Okay. So regardless of whatever time I do the transaction, I'll still have the same amount of money in my account. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, yes. You're not going to lose any of your value
I
specifically.
won't lose any money. Okay, cool. That's fine then. Thank you for your answering my questions. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. No problem. Thank you. Oh gosh, these questions are building up.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a pin symbol on it if I think it's a good question you should grab, and I'm going to grab one right now myself. Somebody asked about availability of merchandise in the U.S. I actually just had a conversation about that, I think 4 days ago. We are working on it. It's because the old systems were so bad and so problematic. We're overhauling everything, all new merch, new company making it, new shipping, new availability. It's a top to bottom like rebuild of the entire merchandising store. It's in the works. It's still in the works. I can't give a date or time frame on it yet, but I am pushing because it would be great to buy this stuff for the holidays and Christmas, but I don't know if we'll get there yet. Availability in the US is supposed to be improved. I'm in the US. I struggle with the old merch store, so that is being looked at. We are working on it right now, and as soon as we have time frames and as soon as it's ready to go, just check the announcements. It'll be in the announcements and it'll be on the Twitter as well.
Let's have a look. Okay, you've pinned one here. What is going to happen to those DX sale unclaimed tokens with the V2 migration? So that token specifically, if and when they're able to find, if they're able to get into the wallet, they can claim them whenever. That claiming period is never going to go away. They own them. They've just never claimed them, so they're always going to be there. And then if they claim them, as I said, the consolidation never goes away. So you're always going to be able to essentially, gather them. So you haven't got to worry about that. In terms of the migration as a whole, any tokens that are left behind or in quotations not consolidated, they always going to be there in terms of V2. It's just going to be in a bank account, so to speak, for when people claim. So the swap contract or the consolidation contract is going to hold all that information and knows what V1 is holding and knows exactly how to distribute accordingly. So that's all integrated with the contract of the consolidation contract. So you haven't got to worry about when it comes to those sort of things. You're always going to have your value. And the only difference is with V2 at the very start, the percentage of reflections is just going to be averaged out a lot more than what it is now, because there'll be initially less holders on V2, but as time goes on, those holders will slowly start to gather their funds as they move across. 3 more here. So what's a good website where I can learn and expand my knowledge on SafeMoon as a whole so I don't need to ask many questions? Well, funny you should ask. I create a site called SafeMoon.education. 2 words, SafeMoon.education. On there, you'll find a variety of different tools, from glossaries to articles. Upcoming is the product guides. There's a few different things on there, and there is also a knowledge base. Now, it still needs to be slightly updated from recent weeks, because it's one of the tasks that is to be done this week. But you can type in a question and it will bring up as many related answers as possible to your question. If it's the question that's not asked on the knowledge base, hit me up and I'll look to answer it and definitely add that to the knowledge base, because that's what it's about, is slowly building that knowledge base up. Is there a consolidation still 1 to 1,000? Yes. So consolidation is still 1 to 1,000. That hasn't changed. That's still what the team are going with, and it's the perfect number for what they've talked about with Bitcoin, and you know how many SafeMoon is to the Satoshi Bitcoin amount. So, what will the migration process look like on Trust Wallet or Meta look like, and how much BNB will be required for each transaction? Okay, so Smart Chain BNB is what you need, and you need anywhere. Well, again, we can't give you the exact amount because that changes based on transactions, but estimation is anywhere from $4 to $5 worth of Smart Chain BNB will be suffice for each transaction. So if you've got multiple wallets, you'll need a few sets of $4 to $5. So for myself, I have 7 or 8 wallets, so overall it'll cost me $50, $60 to move all my wallets across, give or take. But again, that's based on minor factors such as transactions, volume, and so forth. So I think that's all the pinned ones, at least. That's the more ones you pointed out.
One more on there.
Is there? Where am I? Ah, there we go. What happens to the lost V1 wallets? Do they eventually get burned? So no, they don't get burned. As I say, the V2 contract will always know what's on V1. And it's just a case of if someone's lost their seed phrase and then manages to find them in the coming years, they'll be able to just simply come across, consolidate, and you're on V2. That's the way it would work. And no one's losing value, essentially. Is we don't want people to lose their value. That's not the point of this. Is we always want everyone to be a part of it. And as you say, the gentleman here on stage, you know, he's going in a hospital, and there are people that may not be able to do the consolidation right away. So there's plenty of time to do it. But if you want to be a part of starting in reflections, you know, you want to be on the V2 contract. Cool. Let's bring up some more people. Bring up 3 more people. Three more up. If I have invited you guys, come on straight up. There we go. There we go. We've got Gray 420 was up first. Oh, he's dropped. Never mind.
Hello.
Hi, Wes. Yeah, what you got? What's up?
How are you guys today? So I was a part of a migration on a token before, another token. So what they did basically, after the migration to the new token, the price of the new one, it dropped drastically because of the liquidity pool. It was moved. So people started to buy the old token and try to move it to the new one. Is there any way to prevent it with this one?
Okay, so in terms of the way that the team should be looking to migrate funds and stuff like that, what I will say is not right now. I can talk about it just because they're still looking to 100% clarify with the team that are moving the funds. So say the funds are controlled by a set of individuals within the company, which is through legal. Everything has to be done through a legal process. So as they approve those transactions to move LP, they'll be moved accordingly. But in terms of how I can talk about that right now, that's for one of the articles, which we'll talk about after V2's as V2's coming out. So not right now, I can't answer that, but I will be able to very shortly. It's just we need to gain 100% clarification because I could say something and it could be 1000% wrong, and I don't want to give out the wrong answer.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. Got about the last 2 guys up, and I will look through these questions. Oh, there we go. So SafeMoon West.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me?
Yes, you good. Go ahead then.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for all the effort that you guys are doing. So I have a couple of questions, right? So for this V2, do we have any planned dates?
Thank you, guys. I have a question. First of all,
Oh, sorry.
I was transferring my Gate.io SafeMoon to the SafeMoon wallet, and it wasn't not much. The amount was not big, but I transferred it, and suddenly I opened my SafeMoon wallet. It was maybe 15 minutes. It takes 15 minutes to transfer it, and it was over there. And I only saw the balance was so low. It was not the same amount. it was like 60 cents suddenly. So my question was, where is the mistake? Where can I go to? Is it the mistake on the SafeMoon side, or is it the Gate.io problem?
Okay, so in relation to any transfers out of an exchange, I would always contact the exchange first, because ultimately they're the ones that dealt with your funds, and they would be able to go through that and check what they've actually sent you and what you should receive, because exchanges are able to have their own fees on top of that. So I would just speak to that exchange. What they've actually sent you and what you should receive, because exchanges are able to have their own fees on top of that. So I would just speak to that exchange.
Okay, but how is it possible? It transferred me just 60 cents on the wallet. I transferred all the SafeMoon what I had on the Gate.io account, and I transferred it, and it's only how I explain it. It was only a little bit what was transferred to it. I know it cost a little fee. I know it's every exchange. I have also a Lightbit Bitmark account, and I transferred it to the SafeMoon wallet, and that was fine, and nothing happened. All my SafeMoon went to the SafeMoon wallet, and yeah, nothing happened. It was just okay. And I tried it from the Gate.io just the same, and the problem was nothing happened. It was just transferred, and 60 cent was on the wallet. So the transfer didn't work or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. That's why I'm saying definitely reach out to the exchange first of all, and see what fees they have, why the amount received isn't what you say. I'm saying definitely reach out to the exchange first, and see fees they have, why
I
Okay,
guess
thank you. I'm gonna watch in it. Thank you, guys. Awesome community.
Yeah,
Bye
no
bye.
problem. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry, I mean, I got interrupted, so I got mute myself.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so first, a couple of questions, right? I mean, do we have any planned dates yet for when the migration will happen?
I don't want to use the term, but imminent. However, it's not today. So not today, but it is imminent. So I know it's been overused, but it's definitely something that we can say is stay excited because the time is near.
Okay, which means that's what I mean. I'm not looking for an exact time frame. Probably a tentative or approximate time so that I can be prepared for that. That's the only reason I asked it.
You will be notified before it happens. You will be told before it happens. That's something the team are working through. So you haven't got to worry about not knowing. Like I said, we're here today to learn about the content that you want to perceive, and that's the content that you will receive before it happens.
Okay, so I mean, what is the exact migration? I mean, once you launch the V2 contract, right? Would there be any time frame for us to do the migration, or what if I miss the migration time frame, and I'm still holding the version 1 token, and I can still come to SafeMoon swap and then do the migration, or is there any tentative timeline you have for that?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, it's a straight up non-time framed thing. You can do this whenever. So the only time frame thing will be in relation to the value of V1, and how that all plays out. But again, we need to wait for confirmation of how the LP is exactly moving. So in terms of any timeframes to specifically move, you could essentially move to V2 in a year's time, for example, if really needed to. There's no time frame.
Lovely. Lovely. And when you say consolidation, right, which means when I'm converting my V1 to V2, which means I'm doing the consolidation. I mean, the contract is doing the consolidation by itself, or the consolidation process is afterwards once you migrate to V2.
So V2 is the consolidation. So as you move to V2 and you migrate to the V2 contract, it will consolidate exact same time. So you put 1 billion tokens in, you're gonna get 100 million out.
Lovely, lovely. That's with the same price, and the price will be the same. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, so the price will change. The price itself of the token will change based on the 1 to 1,000 ratio. So that will consolidate down as well by 3 zeros. But your actual physical value of what that token is worth will still be. So if you leave with $1,000 to V2, you will still have $1,000 in V2.
Lovely, lovely. That's what I was referring to. And in future, would there be any NFT kind of a plan or play to earn game kind of game has been associated with SafeMoon? Any kind of plans like that?
So I know NFTs are a very, very high, I wouldn't say hobby, but an enjoyment from the team. It's definitely something that the team are looking at very closely and how they can implement that. As again, there's a few regulations, well, even just on the Apple side with the app, as you saw that there was an NFT tab and now they couldn't have that because of Apple. So they've got to work with them to try and work out how this can all play out. But you did mention about games. So I would suggest looking at the Mooncraft. Get confused there. Go and look at the Mooncraft and go and see what the guys are doing on the Mooncraft server for the Minecraft game, and just have a look and see what they're doing, as that has some hints about NFTs and stuff.
Lovely. And my last question, guys, sorry for that. So, I mean, see, I'm holding my tokens in Trust Wallet, right? But many other users may hold their tokens in centralized exchange. How come they can migrate their tokens if they're holding it in a centralized exchange like Bitmart or something like that?
Okay, so with exchanges, and I'm referring to partnered exchanges, I can't comment on any non-partnered exchanges. So if it's a partnered exchange, they should look to do the migration themselves, and how they handle that is down to the exchange, whether they have the user base do nothing or have the user base swap the V1 tokens to V2 tokens. That's entirely up to how the exchange does that themselves. But the first point of call is the blockchain. Once the blockchain has been migrated, then it's up to the exchange to deal with that. Now, partnered exchanges will be worked with, and the team will work with them in order to get that sorted. So you won't have to physically worry about what you're having to do, because again, information and everything will be discussed from an exchange point of view by the exchange, but also we will then look to create some back-end content off that if and when we find out how their procedures work.
Okay, when you say partnered exchange and non-partnered exchange, which means eventually non-partnered exchange cannot be listing SafeMoon, right?
So in the V2, yes, there is a process or a line of in the contract that allows the team to essentially blacklist non-partnered exchanges, because any exchange right now for V1 can technically buy SafeMoon, and they can start to buy and sell and trade SafeMoon without any authority needed by the team. However, when it comes to a nature of creating these partners, they're able to allow and restrict non-partnered exchanges based on their agreements that they have with them. So it's not hurting the user base as a whole. Is the last thing we need is some exchange to come in and just buy it and either rip off the SafeMoon army and the SafeMoon community, or even just hurt the SafeMoon army as a whole. We don't want that, so we want to try and restrict as much of an issue as possible.
Okay, in that case, when you stop the trading for version 1, so whoever is holding the version 1 token in the non-partnered exchange, what will happen to those people? I mean, how come they can migrate it?
So non-partnered exchanges will still want to migrate, but again, that's down to the exchange itself. As I say, all exchanges, regardless of partnered and non-partnered, they'll need to migrate. But each exchange has their own process. It's just partnered exchanges will be made aware, and obviously they'll be given a sort of a help, so to speak, across the board.
Okay, thank you, guys. I appreciate all your answers. Thanks a lot. You guys have a great Sunday.
No problem. Thank you very much for coming up. Let's quickly jump into some more text questions while we get one or two more people up. Let's see here.
The other two people on stage have already asked questions, right? Just double checking with you.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, just helping you manage here. It's a lot of questions. I got to say, I love the people just like pouring in the questions. There's a lot to manage. I'm trying to weed out the ones that have been asked 1,000 times and the ones that I know you can't answer.
No, I appreciate it. It's definitely a session to run live streams, this, and answer the questions all at the same time. So I appreciate it.
I'll tweak it and improve it as we go too. So this will get better and better of a system. This is just like day one, first trial.
have a look here. So how much SafeMoon will be manually burnt to recreate the burn wallet? The exact same percentage minus 3 zeros. That's essentially it. The burn wallet is going to start from where it leaves off, so you won't have to have any sort of like contradictory of the burn wallet changing or anything like that. It's all going to stay the same from a burn wallet and tokenomics point of view. Any information on SafeMoon V2 migration on SafeMoon ETH to the bridge? That is something I'm still waiting on clarification for exactly how that works. Once I have confirmation of that, I'll be able to share in relation to the P SafeMoon side. But it's not something I have an answer for you right this moment. But again, don't panic. There will be ample amount of time to be made aware of how things will play out. I think that's all the sparkly ones anyway. Is that all the sparkly ones? It is. So let's jump across to Randall. Hello, Randall. How are we doing? Muted. I guess we'll move across to Jove.
Hey guys, nice to meet you guys, and definitely been a SafeMoon holder for a while. Love the project, really excited. Definitely has a couple of questions though, and I think I've asked this before in Discord, but maybe now with all of you guys here, maybe I can get a little bit more clarity. For the V2, is it under NDA? And if so, if not, can we see the contract? You know, even though it's not released yet. And the second question would be for the new for the people who are trying to hire. Are they now available to know if the hirings have been completed, especially for those who are, you know, to replace the CFO or whoever was needed to be replaced at that time, so we can kind of get a little bit more clarity on who they are and what, you know, how it's going to affect the company.
In terms of hiring, I just want to jump in on the hiring thing. There's a lot of staffing changes happening all the time. People coming in, people leaving for whatever various reasons. Most of them, as most companies do, they don't announce it because these people aren't looking for massive, you know, groups of people to be on them for joining a company or for leaving a company. When John and the team want to announce a new arrival or somebody new joining the team, or it's going to become public, they'll do it right on the Twitter, or they'll do it through here. You'll be able to see it clear as day, but we won't announce hires. We won't announce every hire. Sometimes we'll hire people and it'll be just kind of quiet because those people don't need a spotlight. They just need to get to work.
I was just more kind of curious for those high visibility positions, right? Where normally maybe they would be doxed or not, stuff like that. So I just wanted to see.
It's possible they're already filled on the back end and we won't see them until they become doxed if they go that route. If they're not going to be doxed, if they're not going to become a public spotlight thing in the early days, they won't be released. It's possible they're already filled. I might not even be privy to the information yet.
Understood.
You've got to remember it is a private company and people can look to keep their privacy. There are only a certain amount of roles that need to be physically public. So it all depends on when they want to release that information. But as for your first question, what was the first one? Sorry.
I was asking about the contract itself for V2, if it's NDA or not, and if not, if we can actually view the contract so we can kind of get an idea of what its inner workings are like.
Okay, so it's NDA as in it's not public yet. So as soon as it's public, you'll be able to read it and go ahead. So once you are given the address by the team, and it'll be either on the Twitter, it might be through John's tweet, or whoever looks to actually specifically tweet it, whether it's Ryan. Once it's public and made live, then you know the team can then go ahead and share that. But right now, there's nothing to share because I don't even know the contract address yet, so I can't tell you. But once they do, then you're more than welcome to look at it because then it'll become public.
Awesome. That's all I wanted to know, team. Keep it up. I really appreciate all the support you guys give on Discord and doing this every Sunday. Keep it up.
No problem. I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. There was one that has just been replied to by Dr. Chris, but I will still publicly talk about this as well because it is something me and Mr. Adult spoke about today. Was will the education translate it to other languages such as Spanish and French? Now we do have a wide, diverse language portfolio within the modding community. You know, there's the members of this modding, especially the modding community, but across the community as a whole, speak a wide variety of different languages. So we will definitely look to work with the community members and moderation team to look to get some of this content translated. So yes, it will be in as many languages as we can make in the time frame that we can do. But that's then also something we spoke about with visuals being more of a representation than physical text, because that is able to be easily adopted across multiple languages. There's been 2 questions, and I'm like, why? Just why? There you go. Is that enough for you? Is that enough for you, PM?
For PM69, is it?
Yes. Actually? Yes. Why? Why'd you do this to us? Why? There you go.
One more thing with the ask command. Some people have put some really filthy garbage in that ask command. If you do that, you get blocked from the command. You'll never be able to ask another question again. So if you're trying to troll the Mooncast, all you're going to do is prevent yourself from being a part of it in the future. Just a heads up.
Yeah, please don't do that. We're trying to help everyone here and just give a community a chance to talk. So if it is that you don't want to listen or be a part of this, then please click the exit quietly button below. As for everyone else that wants to be a part and just want to answer any questions, send them my way. Let's have a look here. So got 1 or 2 more people looking invited. Double check your invite, guys. If I have invited you up, just click the accept button and you should come straight up. Oh, there we go. Manbear, how are we doing? Manbear is server muted. Can we unmute him?
Ooh, this is a problem we had last week where they didn't want to let us unmute people in the stage channel. It's like a stage issue. Manbear Pig, do me a favor. Go join one of the voice chats down. Oh,
I moved him.
Oh, that's genius. Done. It's solved. Here, can we do this? Almost.
Okay.
Do we bring him back up manually?
Yeah.
Manbear, raise your hand again so we can find you.
Where's he gone?
Just raise your hand again. I dragged him back in here. So just raise your hand again and we'll get you on the stage.
I'm trying to see if I can see him in the audience to invite him.
Yeah, it's a finicky Discord thing. Like, hopefully Discord fixes that issue in the future.
Oh, there he is.
We're working.
There we go. Manbear, how are we doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good now. You're good to go.
Okay, so I have one quick question. So I think I heard before early on that if people are stuck in V1, they will still receive reflections once they go to V2. Is that correct?
So that's a part of the LP process, and that's what we're waiting for clarification on. Because essentially they want to do this the right way. So it depends on how that all plays out and how much LP is moved and how much takes it till it becomes that, as we call it, the unsupported and
okay,
beyond.
And another thing, I think it'd be awesome if we took out the liquidity pool for a little bit so people can actually see the reflections when we don't have the actual burn.
So that's a part of the contract. That's something you can't change once a contract is launched. So you can't physically change that. So it's something that's not needed. Everyone can still see their reflections, and everyone, hopefully in the future, as we progress the token's lifespan, the burn will potentially look to stop anyway, and then that's just an increase in general. But for right now, it's not something that's physically needed.
Right, but I think it would be awesome if people could see that for 24 hours. You know, so like in the future, we can have videos or information about how the burn stops, right, and how people can see the reflections.
It's definitely something cool to definitely see. I definitely agree with you on that. It'd definitely be nice to see those reflections without the burn wallet. But you can't not have the burn wallet, and it's a part of the contract, and it's a tough thing to do, because once you do it, people then expect something, and if you don't explain that, 1 minute they're getting hundreds of thousands of tokens, and then next minute they're only getting hundreds of tokens because of the burn wallet being turned off and then back on. So it's a fine line with what you can and can't do, and what people see, because you've got to remember, even though we have a large community on social media, a lot of the community isn't a part of the social media world, and they're just looking to invest based on what they hear through news articles and stuff like that. So, giving them a shock of, oh, you've got all of this, and then, oh, next day you've got a lot, it's kind of a unfair advantage on them.
Okay, right on. And my last question would be, what would be the fastest way to convert to V2? Would it be the website, safemoon.net, or the app, the SafeMoon wallet?
Definitely, if you want simplicity and ease, definitely the SafeMoon wallet. It's going to be 2 buttons. You click approve and then swap. Whereas with the SafeMoon swap on the website, you've got to first off go to your wallet, connect it. Once you've connected it, then you've got to do the conversion, and it's just an additional step that can be avoided if you add the wallet.
Okay, right on. Thank you. Mr. Clean, you're a badass. Hell yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man bear.
Bye-bye.
Let's jump over to Mando. You're up next.
Hey, this is Mandoge over from the Twitter Spaces side. I wanted to tell you guys first off, Katz, Gandalf, Mr. Adult Vino, we absolutely appreciate everything you guys do for all of our communities across all the platforms. We know in many cases, you guys are chasing sleep on our behalf to keep us educated, and we know you guys do that because you love the communities. Just want to let you know that we love you guys back. Keep up the good work. My question, I come from a law enforcement background, and I'm protective, I guess, by nature of people. And my question comes kind of from that area with regards to the whole transition into V2. I've been involved in other transitions from a V1 to a V2, and we all know that no matter what space you're on, that really brings out a flood of bad actors that try to represent themselves as, support. And we know some are there already, at least in the Twitter Spaces side. We know the flood's coming of people that are going to misrepresent themselves as SafeMoon support, and they're going to take advantage of people that may not be as educated in those matters. And so my question, Katz, and disregard my DM to you over on that side, but since you were here, I figured I'd ask. Can you point me to an official tweet or maybe a graphic that SafeMoon has put out that we could use, tweet to ones in the spaces that is more of like a PSA to warn ones of, of what we were talking about kind of a little bit earlier, that if it doesn't come from SafeMoon, that, not to engage with anybody over on that side. And if not, would that be something that you'd consider maybe putting together a quick multimedia pick or a small 1 or 2 slide presentation of 10 seconds that we all, especially over on that side, could retweet to the end of time, especially when we have situations where users are going to have to go in and kind of hit a couple of buttons, and if they have problems, hopefully we can stop ones from being taken advantage of.
Sure. I've been asked this a lot, and you know what? After this Mooncast, I will get something together, because it's definitely something that's been requested a lot, and I definitely have an idea of how that can be put together. So 100%, give me 45 minutes to an hour after this Mooncast, and I will get that up.
Oh man, that's amazing. We would appreciate it, absolutely. I know we would tweet the heck out of that thing, and try to help you all get the education out there. And like I said, something above what we all try to do, just tweeting ourselves. But if we had something to share that was a little flashy, catches the eye, man, we would use that in all of our spaces and just in general. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for being so quick on that.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's definitely something that's been requested. So, as you said, you've wanted it, and it's definitely something that I feel is definitely needed right away, especially with the sort of the other tokens that have, especially I'm gonna name them AquaGoat because AquaGoat got riddled with bot accounts. So definitely something that we need, and definitely something I'll get put together.
So it's part of an ongoing process for us as well. So we've been Venno and Chris and the mods have created some messages that now get automatically posted in Discord, for example, and every now and again you see these kind of be aware messages. So some of that content can certainly be repurposed alongside what Cats does, and we're very much looking at how we start to get those kinds of messages out in the community. And there's situations where certain information and certain people and memes and everything are stuck in these sort of silos at the moment. And one of the big objectives that we've got now is to start making sure that's all effectively cross-platform, right? That everyone sees it everywhere, everyone's up to speed. You know, if there's great messages that are coming from Core or from John or from Ryan, that those things aren't stuck in these spaces anymore. But that also goes for this education and prevention content as well. What we have to be careful of is that we're not, you know, getting any of that information incorrect, that people can depend on it, and that there's no liability, and we're not triggering any regulation issues, all those kinds of things. But yeah, absolutely, we can, you know, if you need any help, I'll help you as well. We can definitely take some of what we've got and make that more shareable now and build on that as we move forward.
Well, I definitely like the thing that Halogen's shared, and I see that there's some stuff on Facebook as well. So I suppose it's just creating a few tweets because you're specifically talking about Twitter, aren't you? So we can definitely get some tweets rolling and retweeted across the board. And I can definitely to share that one from Halogen because that's pretty well put together as well. I like that.
It doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having. Even the days last week when I was quite ill with that cold, when you say Facebook, it always makes me smile.
Don't, because I get picked on for saying Luke too.
Well, hey guys, thanks again for it. And like I said, we don't see all that you guys do physically behind the scenes, but thank you for that. And I look forward to being able to share that across the board, at least on the Twitter space where I kind of reside more in.
No problem.
That's really kind. And as all these things come out, I'm sure retroactively we can start to share a few more stories about what was going on behind the scenes, and I think that'll be interesting. But I suspect a lot of that will be for any, I don't know, future video content or something and podcasts and things. But I'm sure that
Netflix
retroactively people will be able to have pennies drop into place, right? And kind of connect the dots about the effort that goes in across the board. I think I tweeted something earlier. It's completely unrelated to SafeMoon. It was just a general concept, which is if you keep doing the same things, you get the same results. So do something different. And that's really what's going on here. You know, the technologies that are being used, like Web3, for instance, you could do it using all the existing stuff, or you can do it a new way. You can push the boundaries, you can innovate and really kind of create something new instead of just slightly change something that already existed. So yeah, that means a lot more work to do what on the outside looks like something potentially similar at its first version. It's all the things that come after that on those foundations which just start to really blow the top off of everything. So yeah, it's going to be fun, I think, for people to connect the dots in the future and go, and also, oh my God, that you really were working hard. So, you know, the team is doing monumental things, and it's just great to be surrounded by a community that are also doing monumental things to just be out there. You know, it's like everyone is advocating, but it's not for their own personal wealth, it's for the benefit of others. It's through protection. It's, you know, I was listening to a space earlier, I don't want to go into details of it, but it was just lots of people talking about how they wanted to, you know, start different kinds of rescues or support or charity or create things and freedom for people, and it's all kind of quite humanitarian. And I don't think there's another community quite like it. It's showing up everywhere. It's not like, oh, there's a couple of really interesting people and the rest of them are, you know, as much as there's jokes about When Lambo, it's actually the least common thing that people actually want to do. It's very much a meme, but it's not a meaning. And I think that's really nice. So yeah, good. I'm excited to connect some dots.
I'm waiting for the Netflix documentary. When that finally comes out, I will be very much intrigued to see where and what happened in the Gambia specifically, and how
to a
those
cinema
conversations
near you soon. Just for the record, it's not. I just really wanted to say that, just to be very clear,
Oh
before anyone
shit.
starts tweeting it.
Well, there's one more wordy question, and then I'll let Spurs finish with the final question. But when will the V2 contract? Will the V2 contract help negate the current front-running issues that the contract faces? So it's all known. It's well known that the SafeMoon contract today, V1, is not the SafeMoon contract that they developed. It is an off-word, or how do you put it? It's a recoded or off-branded or new branded that was ultimately another token at the time. And then it was that SafeMoon kind of hit the nail on the head with marketing. And then from there, they've been able to actually achieve the mission that they initially set out to in the first place based on that. So, yes, because it's now their own contract, they now have the control that they need to develop and do what they need to do in order to solve any problems. Because V1 was very limiting. It was very, very limiting. And as time goes on, you will see the differences. Just as a general holder, you will see the difference between what happens at V1 and what they can do with V2. So as the progression of the V2 lifespan comes out and how that all plays into everything in the ecosystem, it'll be all made clear. So yeah, 100%. So that's the text questions. So for the final question, the gentleman Spurs, what's your question there?
No pressure then, Cats.
Sorry to put pressure on you.
You're all right then, Cats. You're all right.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad in sunny England and all the rest of it. It's freezing. Right, one thing in regards to helping people move over to V2. You've probably already thought of it, but how about having some interactive dummy run-throughs on your website?
Well, that is something that me and Mr. Adult spoke about. It's definitely something I want to do, but as mentioned, I'm very limited with what I can do with my site because I'm not a physical coder.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I can't do something as a dummy run through as that. Whether how I have to physically display that is definitely something I can play around with. I have a few concepts of how I'm thinking about it, but I just want to make sure that I get it right. Because I was initially going to launch the product page a few weeks ago, and then I was like, I'm sorry, but this is ultimately crap. I'm not launching this. It's not ready. And I ended up pulling the plug. And as of a day or two ago, I finally got the tokenomics guide up, so at least people can follow the tokenomics and understand that and how that all breaks down. So
yeah, because there's going to be a lot of worried people out there, isn't there, in regards to moving all their money across. So it's got to be right at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same principle for the team: is they're not going to launch a product that isn't right. They're not going to launch a service that isn't right. And for all the people that are asking when, just give them time, whether it's the exchange, whether it's the blockchain, or even when it's V2. They don't want to launch something that's not ready, because if they launch something ahead of time and then something creeps up, your money's at stake. So why look to pressure the team? Why look to hammer the team to say when people's money is at stake, and even your own investment is at stake? So let the team do what they've got to do. It is ultimately inevitable of when the team deliver it, and it's going to come. It's just, again, as I said, when.
They say, Cats, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly that.
So we go from there.
Yeah, 100%. And as time goes on, they'll deliver. And once the ecosystem's built, everyone's going to be calm as buttons. Because
look a few years in front. Look at you 3 years in front.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you look at Binance. Binance, it took them ultimately 4 years to be in the position that they are today. That's having their own services. And again, they didn't really build their own wallet. They had Trust Wallet, but my understanding is they bought Trust Wallet, so they didn't even make their own wallet. They then have their own exchange, and they have their own token. So, as we complete this ecosystem, we technically have more than Binance in a very short space of time. And that's something to really be proud of, because ultimately Binance is the biggest at the moment, and we're looking to dominate them and destroy them at the same time. But we want to be the best, and we're going to give the services that we do to be the best. So as time goes on, and again, it's come back in 3-4 years time and be like, why the hell was I worrying? Why the hell was I trying to rush things? Because at the end of the day, we're still well ahead of any other company's schedule. So take that into account.
Exactly. All good things take time, mate.
Exactly. 100%.
So you lot keep up the good work. I've got to go and walk the dog now. So
enjoy.
Yeah, we'll do. So take care, guys, and well done.
Thanks, SafeMoon V2. Appreciate it.
Take care.
And that is finally another episode of Mooncast.
Which episode was it?
I don't know. I've lost
Oh,
track
we're
of
not
how
numbering
many. It's numbers. It's just numbers. It's
21st of November 2021.
This is Mooncast number giraffe.
I'm actually gonna go back and count because I need to count because it's bugging the hell out of me now.
Well, I'm going to switch to my audio setup so I can play our exit music. So I'll be ready to go when you're done. You can say goodbye for me.
Well, goodbye from Vedo. But no, thank you everyone for tuning in again. We just wanted to know a little bit more about what you wanted and what content you wanted. It's pretty much self-explanatory now from what you guys have said. Is we know different methods of what you want, but definitely sticking to more of the visual sides, as pretty much most people that have come up and spoke about it have. They've pretty much all said visual is the way. So we'll definitely look to stick to more of that. Not to say that, there won't be an article on how to consolidate this, that, and the other. So Burns, I'll answer your question in your DMs if that helps you out there. So I'll copy that now. So I've got it. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. I've been Katz, joined by Gandalf and Mr. Adult, and well, Benno's now left, so he's had his time. Anything from yourself, guys? You two guys?
Well, thanks for having me here, and be excited.
I guess just a shout out to all the people who are holding or taking part in Twitter Spaces at the moment. It seems every time I open Twitter, there's another one or more purple rectangles or whatever at the top of the screen with a group of people not just talking SafeMoon. It's like cross community outreach and ambassadorship and just, I don't know, wonderful knowledge sharing and consideration for each other. So just everyone in the community is doing such amazing work, but it's been really interesting to sort of sit passively in some of the audiences. I don't always get noticed, which is good. I try to stay out the way. And for those who do notice and try to get me up, often I'm doing other things and actually doing work, so I can't always jump on the stage. But it's just great to see it all going on, and you're all noticed, and I thank you all for holding those spaces, because I know it means a lot to the community. It's all very well for me to go, oh, isn't this nice? But actually, it's meaningful conversation, and it helps us extend that reach and invite more people into the family. And my favorite bit is hearing all the stories of people, especially the ones who are like, yeah, I originally bought it because I thought I could make a profit on my bag, and now I'm here because I might be able to change the world. And there's so many repetitions of different versions of that kind of switch over. So that's the main thing I'd like to say, is thank you to all of that today. But ultimately, thank you to every community member. There's a reason this won Community of the Year, so well done to all of you again. And yeah, we'll see you on another Mooncast, and I might see you in a space during the week.
Ooh, a nice little treat there. But again, thank you everyone. Mooncast episode number, and we'll see you all guys next week for the penultimate. How the heck do they say that word? I don't know. The last episode for SafeMoon Sunday of the year for 2021. So definitely tune in for that. It's definitely going to be a good one. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Mooncast after SafeMoon Sunday. So bye from me, bye from Gandalf,